We begin the new chapter of Dragon Ball Kakumei with the almost probable death of Bulma. You see her right here. They have nothing that really can compete with this guy. This guy is on a completely different level. He is beyond most Saiyans that are even on this planet, and now they have to guard Bulma against him. But this doesn't mean that they won't try, and one of the guards actually shoots him point blank right in the head. It even goes right through, as you can see the smoke coming from the back of the head, but he is absolutely fine. I'm not sure if he was able to dodge that in time or if it just had no reaction whatsoever. And it looks like the beam simply just went through him, whether that is super speed or just part of his magic. It just didn't have any effect. And again, this guy is on a completely different level than all these Saiyans, anybody in this building right now. The chances of him killing Bulma are pretty damn high. But just as I'm saying that, something actually connects, something hits him and pushes him back, and I'm loving all these Bulma scenes. I mean, tell me you don't love Bulma in Dragon Ball Kakumei. She just looks, it's like her best look. Not only does she look like a scientist, she looks kind of like future Bulma, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Like, she looks good. She looks good. Peppino. This is a character that we got introduced while they were just kind of bullshitting on planet Sadala, and she is a half Saiyan, half Saffarian, which this planet has Saffarians. In Kakumei Universe 6 has them still alive. She has different powers, she has different abilities, and so I'm actually curious to see what she can do if this is her moment. But I didn't even know her name up to this point, and they really haven't showcased her at all. Again, she was just a little tidbit, a little side note in when they were just hanging around that carnival and they were hanging out and showing Broly a good time. And I spoke too soon. I spoke way too soon. One-shotted right through the gut. I would assume this is the reality of the situation, unless she's got some sort of hack. Yeah, this is the reality. And I love Kakumei. It just does not hold back in the gruesomeness of what the reality of these beings fighting each other would be. Even when Caulifla and Kaba attack this guy, he one-shots them also. He's done playing around. He does not have time for this. He needs to get these guys out. He needs to go ahead and kill Bulma, go back to the Venerable Heir, and leave. They are on their way to bigger and better things. This is like a side note in their journey. But right before his very eyes, she resurrects. And this is where we find out that, yeah, that's a dude. That is a whole dude. As you guys can see right here, it's a guy. So, yeah, I did not expect that. Just like what they're saying, I didn't expect it. Yeah, that's a guy. But now I'm interested because the chapter's name is called Zenkai, and this is him resurrecting and coming back stronger, because that's exactly what happens. Near death or death experiences give you jumps in power, or they used to. And so maybe this being that's their hack ability, is that they resurrect because of the Saffarian biology or technology, and they get the Zenkai boost to ultimately become even stronger. Okay, this is really cool. This is a fight between a magic wielder and a technology wielder. This is a technology of Universe 6. He says it's the highest technological land in Universe 6, world in Universe 6. I'm assuming the Saffarians are just that high tier, and to the point where it looks kind of like magic what he's doing, what he did. And that is this is a really cool dynamic. I am so here for this. Peppino coming in clutch, and ultimately he takes the dub. He actually ends up blocking this guy and letting all three of them leave. The lieutenant, Caulifla, Kaba, picking up Bulma, they're out of there while he holds them off. I'm assuming he's a little bit stronger now, or maybe a lot stronger after dying at his opponent's hands. So for a second time, the Venerable Heir's agent tries to kill Peppino relatively quickly with an overpowered attack. Like, this thing goes through several walls, and it's not like he's pulling any punches. He's trying to take him out because he needs to get to Bulma. Even taunting him like, try to stop me with your technology. You just can't. You just cannot. And I feel like there is a limit. There's far more of a limit in Dragon Ball with technology than there is with magic. Magic can almost do anything, while technology has, you know, things that you can measure, so it has limitations. Now, this attack could have killed everybody in this building, but he held back because he was ordered to kill Bulma. That was basically it. The Saiyans that he killed earlier, they were in his way. He is going to use them as obstacles, or treat them like obstacles, and kill them. He's doing the same thing with Peppino. He's going to kill him. He is in a merciful mood. He's not going to just onslaught and slaughter the entire building. He's not going to do that. Now they're having a classic magic versus technology battle where they both are using their type of illusion, falling for both types of illusion. I would say that the magician's illusion is far stronger than Peppino's illusion, but at the same time, it's cool that they're going back and forth. And this is just a rant. Both these characters are OCs. These guys are not part of what a traditional Dragon Ball is. They were made for Kakumei. So the fact that they're getting this much agency and this much focus is awesome to me, because it doesn't normally happen. A lot of the name brand characters usually are the ones that get all the love in these stories. Oh, and here we get the traditional underdog backstory. This is like Naruto essentially, because yeah, this character is a one-of-a-kind, rare occurrence in planet Sadala. Regardless of how connected their society is, he does not have the raw strength of the Saiyans. There's no way. So he decided to make technology his power. His intellect is far superior than any Saiyans ever is or can be, so he's just going to use that to make himself stronger and give himself a one-up in this case. And so on top of the resurrection technology that he obviously has, and all these different abilities that allow him to even block this guy, he has under his sleeve one more attack, one thing that he has been devising since he was young to be able to kill and destroy even a Saiyan, and that is his masterpiece. And he calls it Twirling Force, which I can only assume it is high-powered air. Maybe it's connected to his own ki. Maybe it's connecting and drawing ki from everywhere around him. So maybe it'll take some of the ki from this agent, and that way he can use it all to destroy him. That is a very interesting power, but I feel like he's going to unleash it and it'll just damage this guy. And then ultimately this guy's gonna die. Peppino is gonna die. That's what I think. This is the part of the story that I've been most wanting to get back to, and that is Goten and Trunks' training. I feel this is where all my interest in this story so far is really going to, because these two characters, I feel like they had a glimmer of love and hope in DBZ, and then it's just been dashed away and just kind of like forgotten about. Dragon Ball Kakumei is doing things differently, and they are with Whis. They are harnessing their abilities. They are making themselves stronger without just needing themselves to be fused together. And now, with months of training, they have both risen to the rank of what Goku and Vegeta had been at one point, and that is the mastering of God Ki. And as you guys can see right here, our boys Goten and Trunks are now Super Saiyan gods. Yes, I fucking love this. This is the route they needed to go with. They should already be Super Saiyan gods. They should already want to be Super Saiyan gods, and Goku and Vegeta should not be the only Saiyans with God Ki. And Dragon Ball Kakumei is correcting this problem. Whis is a proud master here, and we get a bit of information that really changes the dynamic of Kakumei, and that is that Zenkais are basically back. It's not just a Zenkai to the Safurian / Saiyan that we saw Peppino. This is a Zenkai that is also for the Saiyan side as well. Goten and Trunks are both receiving Zenkai, huge amounts of Zenkai, after almost dying 9 separate times in 9 separate occasions. They were at death's door, and that brought them back, and that gave them the powers that they have right now. They are extremely strong. And after so long training, they finally reached this milestone. I love how they pop out of Super Saiyan God. You can even see Trunks right here, like half God, half just his base form. In Trunks, it means a little bit more because he does become Super Saiyan God in Heroes. So I actually think that this is like so awesome to give to the characters that are from Universe 7. They think that their training is over. They want to join the rest of the Saiyans to train with them and gain the abilities and their training from his father. And I just love this scene of Trunks with Vegeta. I think that this whole ending part being colored really gives a lot to the story and shows what is the most important thing here, and that is Goten and Trunks, and I feel like they are going to be a huge part of the story moving forward. Oh, Kakumei, you spoil us. They even give love to DBS Superhero here, where Goten and Trunks are just so happy to go back home. They're excited. They want Whis to give them a haircut. They're just ready to go see people at home before they go train because they just want to make a little pit stop. And even Trunks says that he has an idea for a costume for them that looks like a superhero. It's really classy. Just a lot of love for DBS Superhero here. But Whis is having none of that. He's like, are you ready for your next test? Because if y'all think you're done, not even close. Y'all better wipe up that dried up blood all over your face because you guys are coming back for more. And now I really do believe that they are the key to defeating these angels, or at least being a super weapon against them. They are being trained by Whis. Whis is showing them things like, look at this room. He is showing them something. He's training them in something that is angel-like, angelic-like. So I feel like this is going to be where we see these two guys flourish and the story focus heavily on both of them. And Whis is being real with them here. Regardless of you guys mastering the God Key, getting into Super Saiyan God, it doesn't mean anything. Goten and Trunks have a warped view of reality. They were not there for Dragon Ball Super. I like how Whis calls it out. I said it earlier, but Whis really calls it out that they were sidelined in Dragon Ball Super, so they don't have any idea the strength of Zamasu. They have no idea the strength of Jiren, and they have no idea the strength of the Gods of Destruction, the ones that came back. So Super Saiyan God is just not gonna cut it. It's not. Trunks is saying that with all of them, they should all win, and Whis drops probably my favorite line in Dragon Ball Kakumei. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. My favorite line in Dragon Ball Kakumei, and that is, it would be quite a feat for Lord Beerus to emerge alive. He's setting the standard. He's setting what the power is of these guys and what you guys are really facing, because if Beerus manages to survive this, if he does, that weight of him almost dying or possibly not even surviving that long is something that they're going to have to think about going into this battle, because if Beerus is in trouble, then what the hell are they even doing there? But no, this place is Whis' personal training room. It is connected to the Room of Spirit and Time, but it is his, and in there 4 hours is equivalent to 1 Earth hour, so he can get, or they can get, more work in this place and really train like the angels to maximize their effort, because we see something in them and he thinks that they are the key to defeating everything. They are the key to winning this war. And actually, I'm corrected here. I think Trunks is the one that corrects me, because they're actually going to be in there for 6 years. And so it's not 6 months, it's 6 years for the equivalent time exchange. So Trunks and Goten are both going to be like way older, in their 20s when they finally emerge. And I just love the stakes here. I love the fact that we're going to get a time skip within a set amount of time within a story that has characters that have not seen these two in quite some time. Like, I love the ending here. And they're going to have 6 years to do just what exactly? They are going to have to strike Whis. For the door to open, for them to leave this space, they're going to have to hit him. And that will show that they have surpassed every single person that they just held in such high regard if they can hit Whis and leave the room, ultimately being the two that save Goku and the multiverse. We are now back with Vegeta against the Venerable Heir. The Heir has stated that Vegeta has way too much power in the blue form than he should be currently allowed, meaning that Vegeta's blue form is now as strong as it's going to be but has the potential to be stronger. But the heir is literally digging into Vegeta's side by saying if this is incorrect, well, Bulma won't last till the end of the day, because remember, he sent his minion after Bulma to really push Vegeta over the edge. Vegeta says, "I won't pay any attention to your pitiful provocations, Moonface. I know these young people inside and out, and I know they won't fail. However, you're a little too prone to opening your big mouth for our interim god of destruction. Let's let our fist finish the conversation, shall we?" The heir is ecstatic about this because remember, this stop on planet Sadala is literally just a pit stop. It's not even something that he really desired to stay there long term, but it's turning out to be a great blessing for him because now he's testing out his strength as a interim god of destruction, or essentially like a god of destruction in training against a mere mortal. He now wishes that this fight could last forever. But before the fight gets started, Vegeta realizes a horrible truth. That is that Bulma's ki is gone. And if you don't know what happened, I'm gonna leave a link to the video prior to this one. Go ahead and check it out. This is enough to push Vegeta into hyper-realistic, cel-shading, dark horse type of manga panel, because this is gorgeous. Vegeta is thinking the worst at this point. He thinks that Bulma has finally met her mark because everybody else could not protect her. I mean, they are going against somebody that is around the same level as the gods, so yeah, it would have been far-fetched for them to be able to protect Bulma on their own without a few sacrifices along the way, which is what ended up happening. And the heir couldn't be happier because he's noticed the exact same thing. My Bulma is gone. Her ki has completely disappeared. And Vegeta's not thinking that Bulma had some sneaky plan up her sleeve. No, Vegeta's thinking that this guy killed Bulma. One of his henchmen killed her on his behalf. So Vegeta is about to get cracked here because even the Venerable Heir is ecstatic to see what's gonna happen next. Vegeta goes berserk in Super Saiyan Blue while transforming into something that we've never seen before. The Venerable Heir also explodes, knowing that, yeah, he can't just stay where he's at right now. He needs to take it up a notch as well because Vegeta's coming out for blood. He has bloodlust in his eyes. We are immediately interrupted with the fight against one of the Venerable Heir's other henchmen. This guy is the trickster. He's the one that made Broly go berserk and attack the rest of the planet Sadala soldiers. And so this is something that the king cannot let stand. He's feeling it. He's feeling like a bunch of ki just disappear all over the planet. Everybody he's known is getting murked. And on top of that, he can also feel the ki from Vegeta's wife completely gone. And the only thing that this guy's got to say to that is, then the cleaning is effective, which probably the worst thing to say. This is where the king of Planet Sadala really takes a turn here, because he is literally just kind of blaming himself for all this, which he is a little bit to blame. He has spent so much of his life not wanting to use the Super Saiyan transformation, not trying to use the abilities of the Super Saiyan and be extremely peaceful, which, as you guys can see with Kaba, it is effective in making everybody very lazy. So even when Vegeta's coming to train everybody, he's been on the back burner, and when his planet got invaded by these gods, he has really... It took him a while to basically jump in. It really took until Broly was berserk for him to do anything or to confront anybody. And now he blames himself for the deaths of the children and the soldiers and the citizens of planet Sadala. Badula is just so happy. He's having the time of his life. He thinks these are big words for somebody who hasn't even landed a finger on him. Remember, he's using this sort of teleportation magic to not only transport other beings and just their attacks, but also himself. So he is probably the biggest instigator in all of Kakumei history. Like, this guy is insufferable. I love him. But all that talking really bit him in the ass here. And I mean, this is like some of the most gruesome Kakumei images that I've seen in a very long time. Like, look at this. Look at the blood just shooting out of his mouth. The king has struck him, finally. while he is so busy gloating about not being hit, which is probably the dumbest thing to gloat about, because then you're gonna get hit. He doesn't even have time to curse him out completely because he gets hit yet again, and this time an uppercut in the stomach. This guy's not really physically strong. It's his magic that's strong, and so somebody like the king, it's a perfect type of fight for him because he is kind of rusty, hasn't fought for a long time, isn't anywhere near close to the level as Vegeta. But at the same time, he is the strongest Saiyan, at least he was the strongest Saiyan for a very long time on the planet. And then he uses ki manipulation. I love it. He makes himself a battle axe through his own ki. This could be a heavy metal rock poster right here. I absolutely fucking love this. It just looks so raw on so many different levels. I can't even tell you how good this looks without going into an entire other video about it. Like, this, the artwork for Kakumei deserves a video of its own, honestly, but he looks fantastic, and of course he's gonna do what he wants to do with that axe, and that is cut my boy's arm off. And then the king stops momentarily to ask him a question about the demons, and if they love the darkness, why do they always come out and try to absorb light? Dula only has one answer to this. He says, it's because we are born from chaos. It's just what we do. What? Okay, that is sick. It looks like that's his arm, the demon's arm, going right through the king's stomach. Like, look at that. I'm gonna have to do a warning for this video. Like, look at the blood just shooting right out of his chest. This is insane. Like, the blood is splurting right out of his mouth. This is a death shot. He created a portal in the nick of time, using that arm that was just severed as a weapon against the king to basically go in for a killing shot. This guy is completely insane. Not only is he durable enough to take hits from a Super Saiyan king, but at the exact same time, he has the magic to be able to face off against somebody like Broly. But the king realizes there's only one more thing that he can do. And so he uses all the ki in his body and focuses all into his fist. And with that, as you guys can see right here, it's embodiment all around his fist. It just looks so darn cool. He sears the wound closed, and you can even see sound effects here of it burning the skin. It's burning his skin. He feels the pain, but he's not reacting to it, which is something that the demon doesn't realize what the hell's going on. I mean, look how beat up he is. Like, he has been acting and reacting to this pain all day long, but the king does not feel it. After searing it, and you can see here that it is coming out of his mouth, because this was literally his stomach, so him searing it and trying to close it up probably means he doesn't really have a stomach anymore. But I mean, the steam is coming out of his mouth, so there's probably still some fluidity in that. But it is time for the king to take this seriously, because he did promise Vegeta that he would give it his all when it comes to fighting these monsters. With that, the king begins to harness energy, and you can see right here how happy he is, because he realizes that the only way to kill this creature is to sacrifice himself as well, and to sacrifice every portion of ki that he's got in his body, sacrificing all his belief, sacrificing everything he stood for, sacrificing the one thing that he told himself he wouldn't be doing. He told Vegeta basically he wouldn't be doing up until this point, and that is go into Super Saiyan, proper Super Saiyan, for the first time in I don't even know how long. He told it in his story at one point that he even tried to go into it. But yes, he finally goes into Super Saiyan. The beard with the hair, he just looks so freaking rad. Even got the little hair coming off here, like he looks like a Viking Super Saiyan. I think this is probably one of the coolest images in Kakumei. We now cut back because remember, Kakumei is taking a little hiatus till I think October or November, so we're getting through all these stories as fast as possible. But we cut back to the other Venerable Heirs demon, the assassin, who is now being used as a punching bag by a secret technique from the Tuffle Saiyan hybrid, the one that was attacking him in the last chapter. And he explains that he is neither Saiyan nor Tuffle. He is just a child of planet Sadala, so he is something in between. Remember, in planet Sadala's Universe 6, he and the rest of the Tuffles live side by side with the Saiyans, and he is one of the very few hybrids that is able to use the Saiyan strength and abilities and uses the Tuffle technology in mind. But the demon's not hearing any of this and attacks him again right in the stomach. I mean, he must realize at this point this is not going to do much, because he just pops up right behind him and attacks him again with the exact same attack, the one attack that is doing so much damage to him that he can't get past. These holograms that the Tuffle is using are just so detailed. They have smell, they give off heat, they just seem like carbon copies of the original, and the magician is trying to figure out how this works. The Tuffle finds this hilarious because it's like, why as a magician are you trying to rationalize what's going on here? And I think that the demon is starting to like Peppino a little bit more. He's starting to like him because he is just drastically as a mortal just trying his hardest to defeat this demon, and he's doing a pretty bang up job here, but I feel like there is going to be an ending here that is not going to be fair for Peppino. But before that, he gets hit again with this devastating attack, this time double by both the hologram and the original, and this attack is almost, I would say, like Rasengan kind of. It feels the way that it is. They had it at the very end of the last chapter where he had developed it and he showed it off, but now he's realizing that he can use it with other holograms as well. So it's almost like this character has become Naruto by using clones and using Rasengan attacks. And this is cool because the demon is trying to analyze like his attack and who he is, and even though the attack is doing a lot of damage, the abilities, the strength, the speed, everything is just still the same. And you can see right here, like, it almost looks like chakra points, and it just seems very Naruto-esque. At least this battle reminds me of Naruto, or some of the fights in Naruto. And he even claims that the attack isn't even up to speed. Like, it's not 100%. It's very, very small. It's not fully powered up yet. But the demon still has one more attack up his sleeve and attacks him with a devastating ki surge. And this one is enough to go right through his body and fully put him down on the ground. While the Tuffle's body restructures and repairs itself, because that's some of the technology that they have in place, yeah, this attack is called the anti-space punch, meaning that he can attack from wherever he's at and it will feel like he's right next to him attacking him. So these punches are as devastating, if not more, because of the fact that he can attack them wherever he is. He can be really far away and these punches will hit just like if he was right next to them. So this is a devastating magic trick. And just the fighting between a magic user and a technology user is why this part of the chapter is so interesting. And it looks like it's over for this guy. He's still restructuring, he's still healing, but the demon's punches are used in this anti-space trick, I guess, magic trick. And he's hitting him almost like Luffy is, with thousands of punches at the exact same time. So many that he's literally frying his body faster than his body can heal. Like, this is just devastating to the poor guy, and he tried his hardest here to really save some time, buy some time for Bulma and the rest of them, but he's getting toasted up here. He's getting clapped up here. And all it takes is one last punch, one last good punch for him to be put down permanently. But that's when the demon gets hit in the side and thrown into the side of a rock bed. As the smoke begins to clear, he looks onward and he's like, "You're back. You make my job so much easier," meaning that now he doesn't have to track these guys down. He can destroy them and use the magic of interrogation to kind of try to figure out where the hell is Bulma, because the Saiyans are finally back. We see Kaba and Caulifla both in Super Saiyan 2. Not sure what they're gonna do against this guy like that, but maybe they have Super Saiyan 3 right up their sleeve. It is now up to Kaba, Caulifla, and the lieutenant to save Bulma's life against an evil demon who is hell-bent on killing her on the orders of a rogue god of destruction. We are back with Dragon Ball Kakumei, and let's jump into the chapter. And right off the bat, they have to do this without one of their own or two of their own, because Peppino, the artificial Tuffle, the half Saiyan, half Tuffle hybrid, is absolutely injured, completely damaged, and needs repair. So the lieutenant is going to bring him over to the Tuffle laboratories to get him looked at, while Caulifla and Kaba valiantly hold off this demon who has been literally running through everybody, running fade on every single character on planet Sadala since he's arrived. This is one of the strongest characters in Dragon Ball Kakumei, and I mean, he's facing against Cabba and Caulifla. But Peppino stops them and says that don't worry, he will take care of me, take care of everything. You don't have to worry about a thing. And when she's asking, what are you talking about? A growth starts coming out of Peppino's back, only to morph into some sort of humanoid cell slash cooler looking creature, almost looking like what you would imagine a Tuffle to look like. But what is this thing? So the creature's name is Kebia and was created by his father, implanted into Peppino, and comes out in times of need. In case he gets hurt or he needs healing, this creature repairs him, which is really interesting for a technology that could benefit everybody. But Peppino is the Saiyans version of an artificial android basically, so it makes sense that this creature is attached to him and him only. Cabba and Caulifla keep their eyes off the prize for just a few seconds, but those seconds were precious, and in a fight against somebody who's been basically decimating everybody he's come across, that was not the smartest idea, because in their absent thought, both of them get rocked by two fists right in the face. This should have knocked them out instantly, how strong this creature actually is. But they weren't actually hits, they were actually slaps or backhands, if you will, and they were not meant to destroy them or kill them at all. It was just to get their attention, get them back into the fight by just bitch slapping them, which is, like I said, this demon is completely out of pocket most of the time and one of the strongest warriors in the Dragon Ball verse, at least in this version. Caulifla, sporting her brand new Super Saiyan 3 transformation, stares right into Salaga's eyes and tries to punch him, only for it to completely fail, showing the extent of distance between the power levels of this demon and a Super Saiyan 3 Saiyan. She goes in and tries to knee him, and he catches that as well, evading it gracefully, but that's when Cabba jumps in, and again, this is a 2v1, so of course this is absolutely fair in this fight. But even then, just like the way that he's blocking their punches, it even seems like they may be weaker than Peppino when it comes to power levels, or at least fighting strength. Cabba's attack makes no difference whatsoever. Remember, Salaga is completely immune to key attacks, so they have to go with a completely different type of battlement here to face off against him. Similar to how Rock Lee doesn't have ninjutsu, this guy just isn't affected by the key attack. Caulifla comes in, though, in this sort of little moment where he's kind of talking to himself and headbutts him right in the forehead. Doesn't really move him, does bloody him up a little bit, but leaves him open again for another kick attack. This is another key attack that, I mean, like, come on, Cabba, you know he's not effective by ki, so why are you keep dishing it out? But I think it was for the explosion itself, because the explosion left a cloud, huge cloud all around him, leaving enough of an opening for the lieutenant to come in and actually strike him right in the face with a perfect blow. This to anybody else would be a knockout hit, but to someone like Salaga, it probably doesn't do much. But that's when Peppino comes back in with his Tornado special move. This, remember, is the only move that really did some damage to him and exhausted the demon pretty easily in the last few chapters. And this is the only move that this guy actually physically had to force himself to dodge. So he dodged it only to be caught by Cabba again, who goes in for a galley gun, while Super Saiyan 3 Caulifla goes in for a cannon crush right dead center, right in his face, but he is easily able to deflect both attacks. Remember, he is not affected by key attacks whatsoever. I don't know why they keep issuing it, but they might not really remember or understand what his abilities are and how he keeps deflecting the key attacks. Caulifla yells at Cabba, what the hell is he doing? Cabba says that his arm won't move anymore, it's completely paralyzed. And during this interim, this is when Salaga decides that he needs to take out Peppino. Peppino is literally the only one here that is around his level, or at least close to it, with enough hacks that he can actually damage this guy. And so he's like, I'm going to take you out first. Basically taking out the one guy that can actually do some damage to him. But Peppino is understanding the situation really clearly and tries to go in for another attack. Maybe the attack wasn't in full force, or maybe there's a difference with the distance or the timing or whatever, but the attack does nothing to Salaga and he completely brushes it off, only to go in for a death blow to try to kill Peppino again. But remember, Peppino can regenerate. He is essentially artificial, so he doesn't really have like the vital areas like everybody else would. And so I think that's part of Peppino's plan, to get in close to Salaga to basically hold him still, and using that really weak attack because he knew that Salaga would go in for the kill, which he did. And at this point, Peppino's flesh is literally healing itself around Salaga's arm faster than Salaga can pull out the arm. And so basically he's stuck now inside Peppino, while Peppino is able to do his signature attack that can actually damage Salaga at point blank range with his entire body. But he won't let that happen and actually flies with Peppino, trying to kind of get him out of the range that he needs and like get off his concentration. But now he's realizing that he actually is in a little bit of trouble here. At least his arm is. It's stuck inside Peppino. He'd have to rip Peppino in two to get his arm back. But with the intensity and the devastating whiplash of the attack that Peppino has been basically throwing at this guy the entire time, he gets close enough and strong enough of a attack to rip this dude's arm off completely, and now he's gushing blood as he flies off into the opposite direction. But look at his face. His face doesn't tell me that he's worried at all. His face tells me more that he's pissed off more than anything. The lieutenant fires an arrow and all of them try to converge on this dude's landing spot. The enemy is literally on the back foot here with one arm less, and so he should be able to be easy pickings at this point and easily destroyed. But now Salaga is getting pissed off. He's like, damn it, who the hell do you all think I am? Like, you guys are all coming at me. One of you guys took my arm. Like, you guys think that I'm easy. You guys think that I'm child's play, which, you know, I'm nothing to play with. Remember, this guy is the second hand to the Venerable Heir, which is the excluded god of destruction. So this guy's pretty powerful in his own right, and he's shown that time and time and again in the entirety of Dragon Ball Kakumei. So the fact that they're doing this much damage to him is pretty admirable, but really is mainly Peppino and his hacks abilities, while the other two are trying, or the other three are trying their hardest to kind of push him back. But I mean, like, is it really working? That's the real question. That is funny because I feel like this is gonna 100% fail, but Kaba and Caulifla are both coming in, and like this entire page is just so dramatic with them coming in. They're both giving it their all. Obviously Caulifla giving more, seeing as how she's a Super Saiyan 3, but still, like, they're completely in sync. They've probably trained this before, but they're both coming in with trying to give him the most out of whatever they can muster and try to damage him as much as possible. And like, that's the question: is this gonna work? Is it not gonna work? Are they gonna do damage on this guy? Like, is this guy really a pushover like that? Because, you know, Cobb and Caulifla are not even like god class types of Saiyans. Like, what's going on? And that's when he stops them. Like, he literally stops both of them in mid-air as they are charging to him. He's got Kaba by the neck, and then he's manipulating his blood and using it as a hand around Caulifla's neck. He's got both of them by the necks, and that is when Kaba foolishly drops the capsule that Bulma is hiding in. Now Salaga is vigilant. He sees that this capsule falls and he notices that it's something, right? But look at this. He says their heart beats abnormally fast. He's like thinking faster than they're moving, basically. Their eyes are riveted on this capsule because they're both staring at it. Oh, I see. Like, he's starting to put the pieces together because of the way that Kappa and Caulifla are both acting around this capsule. And Caulifla is getting pissed off and just kind of giving it all away, like that the fact that this is something. But before she can even finish her sentence, her extent of using Super Saiyan 3 is at an end, and she completely goes back to base form, and Caulifla is out of the picture. Kappa says that she hasn't mastered the form yet, meaning like, yeah, she's gonna go right back to base. And so he throws her away, knowing and realizing that she's completely out of the fight. And that is when he starts manipulating a clone out of his breath, and this clone is heading toward the capsule. This is where you're hiding Bulma, and he's going straight for it, and if he grabs it, it's game over for Bulma. If she's crushed like this, it's out, it's done, like end of the line, end of the picture. Peppino tries to regenerate during this time, but his robot, his artificial being that's inside of him is completely out of order. Like, it's not gonna work, so he can't regenerate anymore. Now come on, Lieutenant, come on, you honestly have to have seen some battles here. Like, why are you so dismayed at this shit? Because like, she's like, oh, with me and Cabo alone, we're never gonna be a match for him. She voluntarily, instead of trying to take out this guy while he's preoccupied with Kaba and going in to try to fight him, she gives up. She's like, it's over. She literally goes back to base on her own without anything else. But Kaba's standing on business, and with him so close, he punches this guy straight in the face. Look how powerful that punch is. Like, you can barely see this guy's face. It's completely blurry with blood and force, and he yells the famous line, "Don't you dare touch Mrs. Bulma." But again, it is all for nothing. He even says that the clone that's coming off him is about to destroy the capsule. I can only imagine this is happening so fast in such a small amount of time, but it's being drug out because they're, you know, that's the way they're moving and they're thinking so slowly, but everything's happening so fast. And Kaba is just so upset here. He's like, I must find the strength, as literally his claw is wrapping around the capsule that Bulma's hiding in. He's like, I must find the strength. And as he sees it get closer and closer and closer, he explodes into a mighty rage. Like, we've never seen Kaba like this before. Lieutenant not being much help here. She's like, you can't even stand, bro. Just give up. Why don't you just give up? But Kaba's like, hell no, I'm not giving up. I'm standing here on business. He says, I'm a Saiyan, and I don't need to stand on my own 2 feet to rip you to pieces. He gets a little praise from the enemies, as the look on your face is almost spine-chilling, because this is not Kaba ever so friendly neighbor next door type of guy. This is like, I'm gonna kill you if you touch that capsule. Like, I'm going to rip your guts out type of Kaba. He uses all the strength that he's remaining to blast Salaga, and it is absolutely no use. Like, he literally just kind of blocks it, deflects it relatively easily with his hand. Salaga's like, what did you expect? Like, come on, seriously, what did you expect? But at least he tried, at least he did something. But that was probably his last action in this war, because he gets shot right in the heart. And Kaba is finally out of the fight. And actually, I love this panel right here. I don't know why. It just looks extremely detailed and not like Dragon Ball at all, but I just like this panel a lot. Kaba is now down, Peppino's down, Caulifla's down, and Lieutenant has given up. And I love the way that Salaga talks here. He's like, these things happen. You've given your all. It just wasn't enough. And I like that he's like kind of like a proud warrior. Like, this is kind of like how I wanted Gas to be in Dragon Ball Super, like more of a warrior like that, like where he acknowledges the strengths of his opponents even though he's stronger than them, instead of being like, ha ha ha, I'm stronger than you, which is exactly what ended up happening at the end. So I definitely like the way this is going. And boom, Bulma theoretically is no more, because he's shattered. Like, we have to actually figure out what happens when you shatter these things. Like, does everything inside just disappear? Like, is that how it works? He completely destroyed it, so like, is it completely gone out of existence? I know like each one's like a little pocket dimension kind of, so like, what happens in the pocket dimension? Do they get trapped in there like the room of spirit and time? Like, what is going on? Either way, this dude, like, this has been his main mission given to him by the Venerable Heir for chapters now, and he finally completed it, finally finished it. R.I.P. Bulma. I'm hoping that she's still alive somehow, but I don't see how she could be, to be honest with you. We are back with the newest chapter of Dragon Ball Kakumei, and Salaga has just killed Bulma. Bulma was in her own designed hideout capsule, a capsule that you can hide in, anybody can go inside, and Salaga just killed her. At least that's what we're thinking happened, but let's jump into this chapter and see exactly what happens next. When Salaga opens his hand, it looks like almost a universe pops right out of the palm of his hand. This leads the lieutenant, the only other person that is still conscious in this fight, to stare at it with a sign of confusion, like she does not know what is going on. And for the first time in this entire arc, Salaga is stuck. He cannot move. Whatever is happening, whatever happened with the destruction of the capsule seems to not only have frozen him in place, but it seems to be whirlpooling him in, almost like the Mafuba. And instantly in his place, Bulma appears. It looks like she did some sort of sorting magic trick where she switched places with Salaga as soon as he destroyed the capsule. The thing is, if he destroyed the capsule, where the hell was he going? The mini universe is still there. Like, what is going on? What did Bulma set him up to do? Bulma looks over and realizes that, yeah, they paid a huge toll in the price of blood when it comes to this fight and protecting Bulma. The protecting Bulma arc has basically claimed several Saiyans over the last couple of chapters, but now the last ones that were left to defend her are all out of commission. They're not dead, but they're definitely out of commission. And then Bulma cockily says, "Don't worry, I'll take care of the rest." And we can see here that Kaba is a little surprised, but he's still conscious. And we have here what looks like to be a completely different device. This is not the capsule that Salaga destroyed. This looks to be something completely different, and the way the whirlpool is heading into the top looks like this is where Salaga was sent off to, the Hoi Poi trap. And Salaga plops inside, and yeah, it looks like he is now trapped in the mini universe, that the pocket dimension that Bulma created inside the capsule. Looks like as soon as he destroyed it, a trap was set and he was placed in this universe, and but basically Mafubad with technology. And I love this line delivery by Bulma. "Hello, Mr. Demon. Here's your favorite target live from the vast lands of Sadala." So she can still talk to him through the little microphones on top. It doesn't seem like he can break through that very easily, because then the trap wouldn't work. So whatever is this material is made out of, whatever this machine is made out of, is trapping him in here 100%. Even he seems a little bit confused as to what's going on. "What have you done to me?" She says, "You thought I was helpless prey, and that was your biggest mistake." And I've been saying it for years. Bulma is an S tier protagonist. She is definitely one of the strongest members of the Z Squad, unaffiliated member. She's definitely on the sidelines, more like an assistant than anything. But if you come up against her with technology, like, you're always going to lose. I just didn't think that she was going to use technology against one of the strongest villains in Dragon Ball Kakumei. I did not see that shit coming. And look at my boy, he is sweating here. He's like, how did he get tricked? Like, he's usually on his guard. The only reason that he was even able to find the capsule to destroy it was because he was kind of picking up on the cues of everybody looking at this capsule. He knew that that's where Bulma was hiding, and that's where she was. But if he destroyed it, he didn't know that there was going to be a trap laid, and he didn't know that the Earthling had that much of a technological advantage over him to lay that trap, or even the foresight to lay it. Bulma set everything up. This was her whole plan. Check it out. She says it's far from easy to get out of the Hoi Poi capsule, which I don't know what Hoi Poi means. I'm assuming it's some sort of inside joke maybe, or some sort of hidden lore inside Dragon Ball Kakumei, maybe something I'm not thinking about in the past Dragon Ball. But Hoi Poi, you just crushed with your hands. There is in fact a voice command to be pronounced in Namekian, an almost dead language. So she could have gotten out of there easily by, saying the Namekian phrase that nobody else knows. Nevertheless, if someone foolishly tries to force the opening or destroy the capsule from the outside, an emergency command is activated, and then the assailant exchanges positions with the capsule's host. Once this happens, the capsule transforms completely into like a prison, and there's no escaping out of it. Like, you're basically stuck on the inside. And I love Bulma like describing her plan with Salaga and just kind of explaining like what ended up happening beforehand, and not knowing the extent of Salaga's power before he came to attack them. She didn't know that he was gonna hunt her basically, and she didn't know how powerful he was. So she never gave out any information to any of the other Saiyans, so they legitimately thought that she was destroyed as soon as the capsule was broken. And look at the hoi poi trap. It's like actually way bigger than the original capsule. So it transforms into this thing, which seems to be some sort of like mini prison. And Bulma didn't want to give out any more information just in case this guy had telekinesis. So she basically kept this as her trap card. Like, now you've activated my trap card. That's exactly what the hoi poi is. Bulma kept this secret close to the vest and kept it and mulliganed her chances of basically him destroying it, and kind of bet that he would, and he did. And he's kind of impressed because she's literally like an insect to these people, to anybody really in Dragon Ball, like easily killed basically. But she turned her scientific brain into an advantage to trap one of the most powerful creatures in existence. And she didn't do it alone. Not only was she inspired, like I said earlier, by the Mafuba, but she had help from the Tuffles. Remember, she had been on planet Sadala for a little bit with the rest of the Saiyans before this attack. So she was with them and created this thing just in case they came up against a foe that was really, really powerful that nobody else could defeat, and they could use this. So basically she made an artificial Mafuba. I'm assuming if it can trap this guy, it could trap anybody else in Dragon Ball. Literally Boo, Frieza, Cell, anybody. You're imprisoned, miniaturized in this pocket dimension, and I am safe. Checkmate. And she won, I think. And the lieutenant is completely ashamed of herself here. She says, how could I have given up at such a time, damn it? Because she did. She basically gave up on this whole situation and ended up, not even trying. And we can see here that Caulifla literally drops from exhaustion and is bleeding all over the place, and Lieutenant runs over to Peppino to try to help him out. Like, she did give up and gave up the fight way too easily, while the rest of them, even Caulifla, fought all the way to the bitter end. This is what I was afraid of, because they had mentioned this earlier before they even arrived on planet Sadala. And yeah, this is Salaga the magician. He is the master of dimensions. He even was very integral in like the entire dimension that the Venerable Heir was trapped in earlier in the story. So he has been given these dimension powers, or has access to these dimension powers from the get-go. So he says that they've trapped the wrong guy because he can manipulate dimensions 100%. And he says that even these little pocket dimensions, like, I can kind of just slip right out of them. So you basically put me in a prison where I am the prison guard. I can get in and out whenever I want. And Salaga basically reverse checkmates, reverse Uno on Bulma, because Bulma, like, again, she had no information on this guy. She doesn't know anything about him. She doesn't know that he, is a magician with dimensions, or master dimensions. So, she has limited information on him, and of course she would. So now, yeah, I knew this was too easy. It was too good to be true. Although it would have been a really cool way for Salaga to go out, like just stuck in the little pocket dimension. It would have been carrying him around for the rest of the thing. So yeah, but if anybody broke the hoi poi, then they would be reversed into that dimension and change places basically. So if the Venerable Heir destroyed it, that would be what ended up happening. And poof, he's back out again, out of the pocket dimension. Like, it was literally just like it was a speed bump. This guy is completely overpowered. Caulifla, realizing that there's still more to go, she actually gets up. And she's actually given a lot in this series, and I actually like her characterization so much better in this. And I think they do ride a lot on how she acted in Dragon Ball Super. So this is very believable Caulifla characteristics. And Salaga gives his evil villain ending monologue here, where he says, look at you, you're all struggling to stand up. You've surprised me, and I sincerely congratulate you. Not many people have managed it, but the time has come to speed up. You've wasted too much of my time. And he's absolutely right. Basically, they've chewed up a lot of his time, his precious time at this point. And yeah, they need to hurry this up along. He needs to get back to the Venerable Heir. With a force grab, he gets Bulma finally. Kaba rushes to try to do something, but he's too slow, and Bulma gets sucked into a portal. Obviously, this guy's the master of portals. I don't know why he was chasing them the old-fashioned way, though, the entire time on the planet, but I guess he's the master of portals, so he can just teleport wherever he wants. And Bulma is officially trapped, and I mean, her days are numbered, it seems like. Peppino asks for his savior to lend a little bit of the ki that they have, because his machine that is in his body that heals him responds to ki. It only responds to ki. So if it gets charged up a little bit, he can actually heal himself a little bit again and be a threat to Salaga again. And Caulifla stalls a little bit by calling him Drag Queen. And when he turns around, we get the funniest face from Dragon Ball Kakumei. This is just like, look at Caulifla here. Like, she is just so goofy. Again, her characterization is just so awesome, and she's literally not giving a shit. And she's like, fuck you, Salaga, you're nothing, basically. She still has the energy to do this after everything she's been through, everything everybody else has been through. Like, she doesn't give a shit. And Peppino, while he's distracted, kicks him in the back, tells everybody do not follow me, and pushes him through the portal he just made into what could only be seen as maybe like the demon realm, but it looks like it's a parallel dimension. Once he lands, he sees that Bulma is trapped in this transparent cube, and he says he's gonna get her out of here. She says she believes him. I mean, it's gonna be tough. The one thing I do realize from just them entering this dimension is the way the art style has shifted now. I mean, the art style is very scratchy. It looks almost like poster board. It just is very, very, very different from what we've been seeing thus far, which makes sense because this is a completely different dimension. And Salaga is still wondering what the hell is going on. These warriors are pushing him around and throwing him for a loop because Peppino literally just signed his death warrant. He has pushed him into this universe that he has no knowledge of and no way to go back. It's basically a death sentence, but Peppino is completely 100% motivated to kill him. He says that, hey, we're both at the end of our rope here, and yeah, if you are willing to fight, I'm willing to fight you, and we're gonna fight, and I'm going to save Bulma. They both power up, and Peppino launches at Salaga. Salaga's trying to use anti-space punch, and Peppino uses his abilities to create some sort of protection right in front of him that will block this attack. The attack is successfully blocked, and Peppino literally just throws his entire body into Salaga, knocking him down using kind of twirling force, but it looks like maybe just the beginning portion of it, like he didn't actually kind of pull the entire thing off. And Salaga does not like the direction this fight is going. He doesn't like Peppino this close to him because of Peppino's abilities, so he kicks him off to try to get him some distance between them. Peppino launches right back, and he's powering up, looking almost like a lightning bolt. Again, he's trying to get as close to Salaga as possible because that's how potent his abilities can make him. By getting this close, he can actually really end this fight. And he hits Salaga again right into the molten lava, and Salaga is just getting so pissed off because he has no real counter to this attack, and since the beginning this has been the only thing that has hurt him. And so he rips off his shirt and he is just yelling, I am sick of you, because he's so tired of Peppino at this point in time. He just doesn't want to deal with him anymore, and he's tired of being pushed back so much when these are just weak mortals. You may be giving me a hard time, but you've no idea how much magic I've acquired over 403,986 years, and I intend to show it to you, meaning that he still has more in the tank, believe it or not. He's got more abilities up his sleeve. Peppino's in a bit of a shock here from seeing like just how much reserves this guy's got. And he says, I'm going to grind you into dust, Peppino. Like, he's going into like some sort of vampiric demon rage. I could honestly say that we can call this demon timer here. And he looks so cool. Look at the detail in this. Like, the artwork in this Dragon Ball fan manga, it's an official manga. Like, this is official manga artwork. It almost looks like Berserk. It's so cool. He says, I'm not impressed, Salaga. And Salaga is like, that's like the final straw. He just like rushes at him, and look at him. He just looks far more demonic than normal. Like, he just looks so crazy here. He's trying to time it right because his hardware is able to block all the blows. He says the blow is coming from the left, so all he's got to do is block it from the left. But that's the thing, the blow doesn't come from the left. It comes from the right with his ability reverse space punch, and it comes into his blind spot. And this completely takes Peppino by surprise, and it looks like it could have permanently taken his left, or his right arm out of commission completely. And he hits him again and again, and Peppino's realizing he can't take this sort of beating for far too much longer. Like, he's going to die if he keeps going. The thing is healing him, but there is going to be a limit. And Salaga's just like, oh, our dear scientist is activating his defense mechanisms. You seem to be running out of options. meaning that like he is at his end when it comes to his tricks, because they both have tricks up their sleeve. One is magical and one is technical. So Salaga throws a bunch of black smoke right into his shield. This smoke could possibly be toxic to Peppino, and Salaga says this is going to get you out of that shell. He's using almost like 9 grams palm rotation, or like a sphere or a barrier sphere. So yeah, Peppino launches out of there and he says, this guy literally won't let me breathe. This is like a really good fight. Like, it's very, very strategic, which is something that we don't see very often in Dragon Ball. The smoke begins to surround Peppino, but it's not actually smoke, because the smoke is connected to Salaga, and Salaga is able to grasp onto Peppino, and he seems to be like sucking his soul out, or maybe just his air out of his lungs. That's exactly what it is. Salaga is stealing his vitality, his ki, his soul, and it's a technique that he's learned just recently, a few hundred years recently, while he was trapped in that dimension with the Venerable Air. He is sucking out the entire soul of Peppino, and this could be the end of him. But instead of his soul coming out, it's actually his artificial buddy Kebiya coming out of his mouth. And Kebiya punches Salaga, then transforms into armor around Peppino, and it looks like stabilization 100% complete. Post, he's activated armor mode around him. This seems to be more likely the last straw that Peppino has against Salaga. Bulma's impressed, but Salaga is not. He is done with these tricks. He's ready to take Peppino out completely. Kebiya, so you were evolving on your own all this time. Let's see how much it's worth, meaning that his artificial entity has been basically working on the side to better protect his master, essentially. And this guy makes him strong enough to not only catch up quickly into Salaga's chest, but push him through molten barrier rock all the way across the planet's landscape, and it looks like it made him on equal footing strength-wise with Salaga. And Salaga punches him back, and yeah, it's a very hefty punch, and he's bleeding a lot here, but he could be dead if he didn't have this armor on him. And Salaga is impressed with Peppino 100%, but I mean, he's got to do what he's got to do at this point. He's taking way too much of the Venerable Air's time dealing with this guy. And so he says, stop this if you can. Finally, we're getting to the finishers, and he, I don't know, transforms into Goro, this ability that grants him several more arms. I'm assuming he's going to attack him with ki from each of those arms, making or amplifying his abilities and his strength. And that's exactly what it is. It's just he's punching the air and shooting attacks at him, similar to what he was doing earlier. So he is going to be hitting him thousands of times over with these attacks like a Gatling gun, almost like Luffy's Gum Gum Gatling. But Peppino easily dodges all of them, and that's because he is basically analyzing where these punches are going to end up, where they're going to drop, and he's just moving casually out of the way. So this attack, this final finisher attack, he's completely dodging it like he's got Ultra Instinct. And so he decides, you know what, I'm going to go with a Giant Blast, and if you move out of the way and try to, try to dodge this one, it'll kill not only whatever planet this is that we're on, but it'll kill Bulma as well. No choice but to stop this attack cold in its tracks. He says he can't lose, not now, not when everybody is counting on him. And I mean, he's gone above and beyond here, way more powerful than any of the other Saiyans really that we've seen so far that were defending Bulma. So he is their trump card. He says that just let it happen. Just lie down, don't worry, I'm gonna drop you, I'm gonna take away your pain, you don't gotta worry about nothing, just let this happen. And Peppino yells out, Salaga, Master of Dimensions, you've already lost. To everybody's surprise, Peppino had shot through the blast with his own abilities, threw it like a knife, and this cuts right into the dead center of Salaga. And what ended up happening is the first use of non-ki attack against someone wielding ki. Ki is not supposed to harm Salaga. Yeah, he knew that, and he knew that he would know that, so he would be left wide open essentially for a artificial attack, one made out of his buddy, basically the guy whose armor he's wearing. This is just made out of it. It's just a giant spear, and that's exactly what ended up happening. It cut right through the attack and shot right through Salaga's heart. He says, here we are at the conclusion, Salaga. And Salaga says, well done, Hybrid. I must admit, you've won. And that is the end of this chapter. What a crazy battle, guys. this is the end of this fight. This fight has been going on for at least 3 or 4 chapters at this point, and I'm just so glad that we got to see the ending of it. I'm very, very pleased with it. I'm glad that the science user basically beat out the magic user on this, but let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. I'm just ready to get back to Venerable Air, Vegeta, and Broly.
Subscribe for more content.